Uh-oh. Oh, something's wrong. Oh, I knew it. There had to be some kind of issue. Well, that's all right. All is well. All is well. All is well. All right. Fire this edition off. It is March 3rd. So look at that. That's wrong. I put 3-2. Why would I do that? 3-3. 3-3, everybody. It's March 3rd. I know. I hope I didn't confuse people. There we go. There we go. Right there. March 3rd. 3319. We are looking at the weekly, well, not right now, but we will soon be looking at the weekly candle close, which will be happening in the next 11 minutes. So always exciting times here. I see you, Snow. I see you, Snow. And Herbert Garcia, what is happening? I see you. Yes, what is up? What's up? Man, there's a lot up. Currently, Bitcoin trying to creep back from this 3771 level that it tested earlier today. Well, tested in the last few minutes, actually. Good breakdown, good pop up. Things have been moving today fairly well. We'll get to that in a minute. Hold on here. Okay, so these were some things that we're looking at. So Kyber Networks, we're making some moves. We're looking to push down a little further. Blue Zell, we're looking for a retest coming up after a big pop. This is on the hourly chart here. So although that's not what's up, it is what's up. We're looking for it to go up. Raven made another level here, another big move after this cup and handle, little minor retrace, push up, swung back up again, got stopped out at its previous high, was able to come down, retest structure, and now it's making new moves up here into the 611 ballpark on the PTC pair. XLM was doing some things. Let me pull that chart up real quick. Somebody was asking about XLM a few minutes ago, and we had this trade set up, I guess back over here somewhere. Well, even further. We had it back here. That's where we put our zero line. So we were expecting a pullback down to that 382-618 zone. It actually tapped right here on the 709, but that's not the high, right? So the high, actually, we'd have to adjust this for what the new high was. So why don't we do that now? And it would be within this ballpark. It's not great, but it's good enough. So we actually blew past the 709 mark. We kept support on the lower trend, and we were able to push sideways on the 618, and now we're starting to push up, getting back to the 382 level. We would expect to stay within this broadening wedge, or at least respect this trend for now, until we see something that's going to completely invalidate it. But we do have resistance levels over here, historical support resistance levels we have to deal with. And then, of course, we do have some target zones where we're going to have to get, ballpark figures of what we have going on. But the story right now, at least the next 8 minutes or so, trying to see where this weekly shakes up. The last few weeks, let me just pull it up on this chart. Last few weeks have been, I don't know, not wow. Don't look, everybody, stop looking. Okay, we're not gonna do that. All right, we're not gonna do that. We'll we'll pull the other chart up. This is it's a different chart with a lot of different thoughts and ideas on it. When I converted it to the scalp chart, I didn't get rid of all of the stuff that was on there because I didn't need to look at it, because I was just hyper focused on what was shaking in the 15 minutes. So yeah, one day I'm gonna have to go back and address that, because there's some things happening. So why don't we pull it up on our regular chart, XBD USD on the perpetual swap. And this is what we're looking at right now. So as far as the day has been concerned, it's been a losing day so far, right? So down about $24. under 1%, 0.63% current. So we will take a look at this in a little bit more detail. Let's pull up the weekly and just get an idea on what we have. So for the week, another sideways week, another week of indecision. This is like a true spinning top, okay, or at least really close to it. What you want for a spinning top is you want equidistant from topside trading to downside trading. Now with the body itself being less than 2%, we could go on record and say it's probably a doji, similar to this guy right here. But this guy was 0.21%. This guy is so far 1.4. So we'll get into that in the next 6 minutes or so. Let's see what's going on here. Josh, what's up, buddy? Yeah, Herbert's in Illinois. Very nice. Snow has just woken up. We're just getting some coffee. Josh is with us. That's fantastic. What's going on, Josh? Great to have you here. Yeah, so let's take a look. We like to do this I like to do it on Saturdays and Sundays. I like to take a look at the 7-day because the 7-day gives us just an idea of how the week has shaken out. So, when someone does ask you what's up, you can answer them properly and say, well, ICX is up, BNB is up, BCH is up. Now, these are all tether pairs. So we'll put the all pair on in just a minute. Now, FET, forgive me, but I don't know much about it. From the looks of the trend, this would be a new listing, right? So we only have enough data to fill in the 5-minute and the 15-minute. I'd imagine that this has been listed fairly recently on Binance. I don't even know the logo. So, we'll have to take a look at that at some point. Have to let it get a little bit mature, stabilize, figure out its own bottom, figure out its own top, and then start playing around and testing some new levels. So it's probably not much for us to do on that right now. But, now when we get back into the all pairs, this is when we start seeing the other guys. So Engine, BTC, 207% up. Whew. So when we were here last week for the weekly candle close, we have jumped up 207% on Engine. Strong trend, 30-minute to the day in the upside. Starting to weaken a little bit on the 5 and the 15. This could give you an idea for a pullback. All right, now, ideally you'd like to see these light pink or even dark pink to give you the idea that you're still in an uptrend. Everything is cool, but you're pulling back a little bit on the lower time frame in order to get you a re-entry. So 207% up in 7 days of trading. So far, 40% down of that. So 40% has been lost from those gains. Raven, BTC, another one we've been looking at. Strong trend the other way around, right? Strong trend from the 5, right, all the way up to the 4. Sideways slightly bullish on the 6, sideways slightly bearish on the 12, full sideways on the daily, and I believe that's because of history as well. AST, we looked at this last night, super low cap. You have to be careful with these, but up 109%. That's nothing to scoff at. We're going to skip FET for now. APP, we talked about that the other night. 8 million market cap. Again, another small guy, but up just about 100%. Now, Theta has been cruising on the dailies. We got probably about a month now. This thing's been moving really nice. Another week goes by, another 76% up. Currently pulling back 30%. This is nice, but you don't want it to be a reversal status, right? So this is something that, you sort of got to pop on the chart and say, all right, what's going on here? We got long-term time frames good, 12 and daily, so we're still in an uptrend. This pullback right here, you just want to get to your re-entry if you're going to stay in an uptrend, right? So that's something that, you pull up the chart and then you take a look. All right, buying is certainly coming in the last 15 minutes of this candle. So far up, it doesn't sound like much, but so far up $6 on that 15-minute. That's the last 15-minute candle of the week, everybody. 1 minute and 17 seconds to go before the close. Are we heading down? Herbert wants to know if we're heading down. I'm guessing on Bitcoin. Is that what you're asking about? Currently on the 15 chart, for sure, the trend is down. You do have lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. You do have lower highs, lower high, and lower high. Right now, you are getting smashed out from the holes, which you're actually showing minor support on. You have support on the 5 and support on the 1 minute. So currently, you are pushing up off of an old level right here. 37.71 is an old support resistance level. So a good level. It's actually a 382 from a much larger move. So generally speaking, from trend, right, we could say that trend is going down on the local time frames. When we look at the bigger picture, wait, hold on. Hold it now. All right, 10 seconds. Okay, everybody just, hold on to your seats. All right, we have 1 second, and that is a wrap. All right, we've officially painted our weekly candle. Let's go take a look because, it's so exciting. All right, here we go. Weekly candle, freshly painted. Here's the results. We opened at 37.33.50. We hit a high of 38.95 and a low of 36.400. So a big spread there, almost 3,900 to about 36.50 ballpark. That's a pretty good swing. Closed at 37.85, which is not great on the bullish side, but it is certainly higher than where we opened, opening at 37.33. So up $52, which is 1.39%. And higher, obviously, if it's bullish, right? Higher than our last weekly candle. So on the weekly side of things, Herbert, you were asking if we were going up or down. On the weekly side of things, we're in an uptrend. All right, so this is, every candle is higher than the next, minus this little sideways action right here where we went down a bit. But overall, we do have higher highs and we do have higher lows. Higher highs and higher lows. So locally, it's in an uptrend. Will that last? No one can answer that. What I can say is on the weekly chart, we have broken out of this very large symmetrical triangle that has been here since the week of November 19th. We started painting this pattern out. All right, and by painting that pattern out, you're looking for breakout plays. Of course, this is going to look different once we swing to the daily based off of proximity of where these candles land on the chart. So why don't we pull the daily up and let's get the daily totals because today was a losing day. All right, so daily totals for today. We opened at 38.08. We had a high of 38.16, so up literally $8. We hit a low of 37.57, and then we closed at 37.85. So we hit a low down at 57 and was able to push it back up to 85. Not able to get really anywhere near even just the open of the candle, which would have been great for the bulls. This is a bearish candle. The bearish have certainly won the day, and by doing so, they brought it down 22.50 or 0.59%. Now on the daily chart, we do see something a little bit different than what we saw when we looked at the weekly. So now you get a little bit more resolution, you get a little bit more detail here. So again, Herbert, like we were talking about, uptrends, downtrends, right? You come down, you hit your low, now you make a high. Now you make a higher low, you make a higher high, right? You make a higher low, you would expect a higher high if you're going to continue trend. When you fail to make a higher high, right, you have a swing failure, and now you've broken trend, which means you can either enter into range or sideways trading, or you could slope, back down and start making a new trend in the opposite direction. You would need to break. Now, of course, you haven't made your higher high yet, but previous market structure is this zone right here, which is what we tested down on this candle. So if you break that, this is your previous high. So if you break that, then yeah, you got to start looking at other things. This has been a fairly consistent step, even with the big drop. Now, if you're a breakout player or breakout trader, you've broken out of this symmetrical triangle and you've retested it, which is a good thing, right? You found support and now you're working your way back out. Nothing violent about it, which would be nice, even though it sounds crazy, but nothing violent about it. Now, we used these the daily moves here in order to create this new trend. So it's not an official trend yet. It's just 2 anchor points. You would need to get a third touch on it in order for it to become a trend. But we do have that now, which paints us a much larger symmetrical triangle. So with patterns, you know, you have patterns within patterns within patterns, just like we have this bullish Gartley pattern within the context of a symmetrical triangle, to which, to fulfill the profit targets, you would need to break out of it, which is exactly what we did. Finding resistance on historical levels such as 41.44 and pushing back down for a retest just gives us confidence that this is a good breakout. Now, of course, there are people saying that this is going down, 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 and it very well may. We can only go off of the price action that we have right now. We can only go off of current trend, current moves, current patterns, and you know what volume is telling us, what our indicators tell us, what price tells us. Now, what we do know is this: sideways, 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 bearish. And well, we don't have any data so far today. We only had the candle open 5 minutes. All right. So when you're in sideways, you're in range, right? So once you're in range, you look for indications of the range exhausting and something to push it one way or another. Right now, you have equilibrium between the buyers and the sellers. They're for all intents and purposes, they're happy with the price. And so you don't see a whole lot of movement, even with higher, well, that was on the dump. But even with volume that's just about at average volume, which is so $1.1 billion within a 24-hour trading period, and you can see the price has moved on this candle. The price literally moved $1. So 24 hours of trading, and from open to close, your difference is plus $1. So buyers and sellers are okay. They have found an equilibrium. When supply or demand change is when we will see the change represented on the chart. Now, we could paint a pennant, probably. Something, I'll just do a rough one now so you can sort of see what visually may be there. Be something along these lines. Of course, everything would need to be adjusted properly. And by doing so, you are lobbing off this wick here, but you're using this wick here. So it's really unfair to paint that. And you don't want to have to force a pattern. It doesn't seem to make any sense. But if we did something like this, you know, try to get the average, you know, including bodies. So try to get the average trading here. We're just in a range. You know, if you were to play this range out, you would see you hit the top, you come down, you hit the bottom, you come back up, you hit the top, you come down, you hit the bottom. So range trading is another way or another style of trading that some people prefer. And they you know, they long support and they short resistance. And they could play this out on the 1 or the 5 minute chart, you know, something like this. And they could do that all day long. Right? So it's just another style of trading. Less percent gains per move and much more trading, but this is something that someone who's maybe using leverage trading might go in, save a little extra capital, but push leverage up to higher levels. You know what I mean? All right, Saint, what's going on, man? Happy to have you here. Thank you for joining. All right, so I think we covered the weekly, which is good. We covered the daily, which is good. Let's take a look at some other weekly charts. I had a few up here. All right, so Litecoin, Bitcoin on the 1 hour, looking at a Gartley to play out. It's not behaving so well, but let's throw up the weekly and see what we got going on over here, just on the little screen. No big deal. Just get an idea of what's moving. All right, Litecoin weekly. Let's get rid of everything here. Litecoin weekly, bit of a cup. Yeah, a little bit of a cup, minor retrace for the handle, good push up, and then sideways. So the bigger picture would show us sideways. Now follow the cursor and take a look at where we stopped out, right in this ballpark, right? These bottom candles, look at where you're finding resistance right now, right? Same thing, just follow the cursor to the left. Okay, areas of support, right, are now resistance. We talk about that all the time. All right, so Ravencoin. Ravencoin has been cruising, but what has it done on the weekly chart? Let's see. So weekly chart, painting just a big giant N, which is okay. Now, not a ton of history on this chart, so you can only look at what we have. Follow the cursor to the right. You'll see that's the next major area of resistance. We've already moved past this zone right here, which would have been the top of this weekly candle. All right, so imagine this would have some pullback coming, but that's why we had the hourly chart up, but I just threw the 4-hour chart up right now, and you can sort of see what we got going on here. Good, healthy moves up. Some pullbacks already, you know, pullback and a pullback. So you don't be overly shocked if we get another, you know, level of resistance and another pullback. That's perfectly fine. Kyber Network. So KNC was cruising for a little while. You see that big giant candle right there. Now this is again on the weekly chart, but this was something that we opened up and we said, all right, you know what, breaking out of this little range zone is pretty healthy. Let's take a look at that a little bit deeper. So that's how the weekly looks. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart and just get an idea on what's been happening over the course of the last few days, just broken down a little easier. And you do have that big move up, which is nice. Hold on, let me get that a little bit better. All right, so from down here, you had a nice move up and a pullback, nice move up and a pullback, another nice move and a pullback, and then you had this big giant candle, right? So this big candle here and another big pullback coming down to previous structure highs. Follow the marker over to the right. You would expect to come down to levels in this ballpark, which would be a little bit lower than where we are now. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that. Now, if it finds support like up on, you know, these wicks, then fine, you know, and we are starting to get some bullish activity going on over here right now. So a little spinning top on the 4-hour. And you got buying coming in on the current 4-hour. But so far, indecision. Nothing to shake yet. Certainly in a local downtrend. So we would expect a little bit of continuation. This is another level of previous resistance flipped, right? Turned to support and turned back into resistance as we smacked our head on this a few times. Blue Zell was another one. I haven't traded Blue Zell in a very long time, but let's pull up the weekly chart and see what we have here. A big step down formation down, trying to find support for range trading for quite some time. We can see the larger highs on here. So again, like everything else, just in a macro downtrend, trying to push out of range, right, on the local trend. So weekly chart, here's your range. Trying to push up out of that range. Let's go hit the 4-hour and get a better idea on what we're looking at. And we can see we've made some moves up with some slight pullbacks. All right. So from where we would consider local low, which is, I guess, down in this ballpark here, we had a big attempt up and lost it all. Came back, and now it's just been a rocky road. Painting this big W pattern here, right? Not quite now, like an Adam and Eve would have been nice. you would have had the rounded with the sharp V or vice versa. But that hasn't happened either. This is too round of a bottom for that to be, and this little V break right here is too high. You would need a double bottom area, which all three are too big. Almost a three. Well, no. So anyway, then we come down. We hit a sharp area of support, which is the bottom of this range right here. Came back up, found another level of support, which is sort of the top of this range, and now we've broken out. So this is the big deal on Blue Zell, is the big breakout play. So the push up here, double top, brought it down. There's your pullback, swing back up for a nice move up top, and now here's your current pullback. So all good things are happening on a lot of charts, which is really cool. Everybody likes to see some little bit of happiness, you know what I mean, from time to time. I feel like maybe we deserve that. No, I don't know. You guys tell me. You guys tell me. Yeah, I think I have. Let's see here. I got the wrong one open, probably, because things are a little bit crazy right now. Give me 1 second so I can load up the correct screen. It looks like, yeah, it looks like I might have it now. Maybe I'm not even 100% sure. Something doesn't seem right. Oh man, I don't know what's going on. Everything's wrong. Oh boy. Don't worry. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. I'll fix it. I can fix it. I can do it. Here we go. There it is. Okay, much better. All right, there we go. Okay, so let's see. And I gotta swing back down here. All right. Wallbanger. All right, let me catch up for a minute here. Wallbanger, North Florida. What's happening, buddy? Steam popped up for 10% yesterday, then dropped back. Wonderful, it hit again. All right, we'll pull up Steam in a second. Josh, brother, what's up? Snow Crip, yeah, Snow. Of course, Snow. There you are. What do you think about all the tweets saying BTC will hit 38.90 and dump? I'll address that in just 1 second. Ricky Thompson, what's happening? Like clockwork, you're on around daily candle close. Yes, I try to cover the close. Thank you for the up. Yes, yeah. Dude, I love doing the daily candle, love doing the weekly candle, if and when I can. Do you think this low volume is bot trading? Ricky, just okay, on BTC. Yeah, I should have just read a little bit. I'll address, all right, so let me address that. Let me address 38.90, and let's take a look at Steam. Wallbanger, Steam, and Rep. And Snow, of course, GByte. Dash USD and GByte USD. You choose the exchange, please, and thank you. That's classic. Let's take a look at Steam real quick. Let's see, Steam. Let's go, I guess, Bitcoin, Binance. Oh, things have happened on this chart. Okay, so Steam, apparently we already looked at. What were we looking at here? A little cup and handle action going on the daily chart. Shallow handles 382. All right, so 382 from the bottom of the cup to the top of the right side cup. Now, cup and handles are a little finicky on where is the left and where is the right. I like to do reversals, so it would be like sort of the swing high. This would be the swing high. That created the low, right? So I'm sorry. So this would be the, did I do that wrong? Swing high. Yeah, that's the swing high. Down to the low. Okay. Maybe I'm talking too fast. All right, so anyway, we painted our cup. We realized our cup right here, and then we reverse back. So handle, now a shallow handle is the 382, right? Deeper handles can be between the 5 and the 618. So that's why you see 2 arrows here. Now we can get rid of this guy, and we can get rid of this guy for now. We can see that we did push all the way down to the 5. All right, so not bad. And if you're playing pullbacks, you would have seen the move up and the pullback, the move up and the pullback, and you look left for previous structure highs, and you were right there. So that's what this pink line is, and that pink line is also confluence with our 5 of the bottom of the cup to the top right side of the cup to create our handle. When this pattern plays out, You're looking for distance from bottom of the cup to the top of the cup as your push after you break the top of your cup, which is going to be this candle right here. So if you break the top of that candle, we're looking for a 32% gain up on, so there we go. It'd be more like that. A 32% gain from top of the cup. So yeah, I mean, that's what we're looking at for Steam. So far, it looks okay. You know, things are playing out just fine. This candle is not great as far as candles, you know, bullish looking candles. This, you know, let's put it this way: it could be a lot better, right? So it's kind of like a gravestone doji, which should be at the top of a trend and reversal to work its way back down, but now it's at the bottom of a trend, so it's a little bit different. If it were something more like an inverted hammer, which means it would need a much larger body, it would be more bullish, and that's a reversal candle up, which means the bulls tested to the upside, lost it, but they maintained full control of the bottom. The bears never got a piece of it. And that's not exactly true in this case. The bears did get a piece, just a tiny, tiny, tiny little piece. But the bulls were not able to retain anything that they gained earlier, right? They lost it all, and now they have to work on it slowly but surely. So that's sort of what we're dealing with on Steam. But overall, this pattern is fine. You could throw stops underneath, you know, previous structure high. So underneath this 5 zone, if you're confident that this is the handle that you were looking for. Again, most handles will be between the 382 and the 618. A shallow handle 382, sort of mid at the 5, and a deep at the 618. So, you know, it has room to go, basically. But having a nice reversal here or finding support on the 382 is nice. With one push down to the 5 is actually pretty good. So we're okay with Steam for now. All right, so that was Steam, and what else? Wallbanger said rep. Oh, auger. Okay, yeah, I forgot rep was the handle. All right, so let's see. It's been a few days since we've been on auger. What do we got going on here? Let me just slide that thing over a little bit. So this is the big push, right? This is the big push out of a little bit of accumulation. Nothing too crazy, yeah. So right here, right at this guy, right, you're sort of looking like you break this level and you flip it, and this becomes your springboard, right? So this is this isn't exactly a great range. So, I mean, you could call it a range, but it's ugly. It's not a great range. But anyway, this was your previous structure high, and this is the big one, right? So breaking this, which is exactly what we did, I followed the aqua line. So we broke it, and we came back and retested it, which is nice. Lost it quickly, and then gained it all right back. So we were cool with that. Right here, you had the big pullback zone, right? And then you had this massive, massive, massive candle up, 44% candle. Whoo! In one day, followed by 1, 2, 3, 4 bullish candles. This is not a shooting star, but it represents similar to a shooting star, but it is not. The body is far too big and the wick is far too shallow. However, reversal candle nonetheless. On this whole move, we have currently pulled back and tested the 618. It's this right here. All right, so the 618 from the bottom of the move to the top of the move, and I know it's not perfect. It's close. From the bottom of the move to the top of the move, we slam dunk on the 618. Now the 618 move played to the 236 perfectly, right? Slam dunk right here on the 236. But now we've pushed down even further, right? We tested the 5. Now we lost it. Now we tested the 5 to the backside as resistance, and it is. So I would imagine a little bit of continued selling to go on here and get back to the 618 as a double bottom, and then we have to play that out a little further and see what we have going on here. Confluence with previous support resistance you know, the bottom hesitation zone right here, acting as resistance. But look at the volume, right? So volume for the whole move, for this move, from the downside is going down, right? So it's doing this. Generally, that's a good indication of reversal, meaning that people are unsatisfied with what they see here. So it loses strength. So if the volume is coming down, you can see these candles are tiny, right? 1.5, 1.2, 2.2. Small candles, so not a ton of trading. We can get the idea that, you know, this is possibly getting primed for reversal. I would look for bigger candles and volume to come in. Maybe coincide that with RSI, right, trying to find itself above the 50 line, which is going to be this marker right here where the cursor's at. So I could actually do, you know, we'll do something like that. We'll throw this on here. We'll just throw the 50 up just so we have it. You know, next time we revisit this chart, then we have our... Wait just a second. What the hell just happened? Did I do that completely wrong? Tell me. What'd you see? 50? Yeah? Yeah, okay, there we go. All right, so there's our 50 line. So here's what I would like to see. I'd actually like to see this push down a little further. If we get the RSI down a little bit, which would be nice, then we give us some information that buying should be coming in, trend should be exhausting, get a double bottom on the 618, and then push up from there, so that on the bigger picture, right, we're just doing a larger 1, 2, 3, right? Just like a much larger ABCD, something like this, you know what I mean? Where you just have your A, you have your B, you have your pullback, right? And then you have your A, B, C, D, all right? And then you would have your D marker, which apparently is going to be like that. Okay, A, B, C, D. Which is good, because then we can start building some patterns off the 618 retracement, which we already can do now, but not yet. I don't want to bore you guys with anything weird like that, so we'll keep it moving. All right, so what was I going to talk about? What do you think about 38.90 and dump? Blah, 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 blah. And then somebody asked about bot trading. Okay, so let's go back to on the perpetual swap. So 38.90. Were they saying? Do you know if they were saying that on MEX? Were they talking Stamp, Coinbase? If you know, raise your hand, and we'll try to figure it out. So 38.90 is all right. Well, 38.90 is this, right? It's the 618 of the move from A to D. All right, so let's talk about this, because we should. All right, here's the deal. We pulled this pattern down top. So we had the big, large dump down, and then we pulled back. We had a nice retrace. And then from there, we made another lower low. We found support, 31.21. We swung up, right? Big impulse move up. Topped out somewhere around 42 and change, right? 42.40, 42.41, whatever you want to call it. From there, we had a 618 pullback, right? We had a nice pullback over here. Came back up, but failed to make a higher high. So actually an 886 retrace from the larger move, right? From X to A, we pulled back about 886 or 88%. It was really 83.6%, which is fine. Now, when we came back down, we broke structure low, right? Obviously failed to make a higher high. So this is already a swing failure. Came down. Now this is a failure right here. Anything below this candle was a failure down low. When we came back down here, we found support at 33.42, which was strange for a lot of people because they were expecting a double bottom at 31.21 or lower. From there, we popped up sideways, popped up sideways, popped up, found resistance, which is this newly created line, and then we came down, right? Once we came down, we ended up finding support back on our symmetrical triangle, which also is this aqua line, which is what? Historical levels, 37.24. All right, and I believe that's off the daily from 2017. So we found perfect level right here, which was great It's also just about within this accumulation zone right here, which was our 618 pullback. Now, all that being said, why would 38.90 be a big deal? 38.90, we had accumulation all over 38.90, 3900 in this zone. 38.97 is a target level, 618 off of the A to D, right? But we went down on the low over here over at 33.42. So target level zone for a bullish Gartley pattern is a 382, 618, either A or C, whether you're going 886 or 382, and then you have a 127 and a 1618. 14 is just up there as a bonus. So if we found resistance at 38.90 and we weren't able to hold it, then we're going to come screaming down. That's what they're saying. Well, all right, so we pushed up right here. This candle over here went 38.95. Quick selling came in. A lot of orders were filled. Orders that didn't get filled during this big dump here. And again, we found equilibrium or happiness between the buyers and the sellers. Let's get rid of all of this junk just for a second. So if we just look at just structure, just take a look at what we're looking at here, this is what we're dealing with. This line where the cursor's at, 41.12, let's call it. This would be more pivotal to me than 38.90. Now again, that's why I asked what kind of chart you're looking at, because levels are going to be different on, let's say, Coinbase or Bitstamp or something like that. I would imagine failure at 41.20 is a bit more of a bigger deal than a level that we've already traded on, above and over and accumulated through since mid-November. Now when we get to these levels here, 41.27, you're testing levels that you failed at earlier, right? So you failed right here to make a higher high, so that's a swing failure. Once you failed to make that high and you come back up and you retested it, you failed it again. That's two failures. So you'd expect it to come back up again and test it at least one more time. And if it fails again, then you might see a larger reaction. Now, grant, this is just another failure to make a higher high right here. All right, so we have a series of failures when it comes down to structure, right? So this is the retrace off of the big dump, where you got a big dump and a retrace. So this is now your pivotal moment, right? The body on this candle is 42.57-ish. See, we closed at 42.42. We get a high of 44.23, okay? So those two levels are targets, right, for the bulls. Now paint this out visually, and you'll see lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Uh-oh. Well, what's this? This is a higher low. So right here you have a swing failure to the upside, right? So that's what we see when we see the triangle, right? So, oh jeez, everything went sideways. Well, don't worry too much about it, but you get the idea of structure and how we look at it. So when you look at this line here, this blue line, which is part of the symmetrical triangle, once you painted, you had low, low. Once you painted this candle, right? That's the failure to make a lower high, right? Which should be somewhere in this ballpark, at least underneath this candle here. By making this candle, now you had a failure. You had a line to break, and we broke it. And that's this guy right here. So we broke it. We retested it as a breakout trader. We like to see something like this, and totally okay with it. I don't really get into, you know, predictions all too much. I'd rather, you know, concentrate on the local price action. What's happening right here in front of me? What's happening on the daily right now? Somebody asked about bot trading. There's bot trading happens all day, every day on every pair, especially on Bitcoin. There's nothing wrong with cycle trading. We do have issues with wash trading, and wash trading is just a way to sort of inflate the exchange's volume to show you lots and lots and lots of volume when, you know, it's just the same people selling back and forth to each other, no fees. Yeah, it's like a whole thing, all right? But yeah, bot trading can certainly cycle back and forth in increments, you know, 0.1, 0.2, 0.05, a little bit here and a little bit there, you know, is really no big deal. Again, this comes back to supply and demand, and right now there's neither, right? So you just have equilibrium, and traders are happy, right? Buyers are happy with the price, sellers are happy with the price. So you get a little bit of buying, a little bit of selling. Volume will show you how much has traded hands, you know, over the last 24 hours. So you're talking $1.1 billion being traded back and forth. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. All right, so let's see. I think, yeah, we covered Steam. What else did we cover here? 3890 we talked about. Bot trading we talked about. Steam we talked about. Rep we talked about. Oh, man, Snow, it is your turn. Woo! So what do we got? What do we have here? Dash. Dash and G-Byte. Snow, you're the best. All right, so Dash USDT. Dash. How have we not? Oh, this is Polo. Hold on. Dash USDT. Whoa. Dash USDT. Oh. Wow, they don't have a Binance pair? That's wild. Now we got to find out who has the most volume. All right, so Polo, Tether. So Polo, Bittrex, Huobi. Polo, Bittrex, Huobi. All right, so let's see. We got to break out our other tools. Hold on. Oh, jeez, what is going on here? There we go. All right, so let's just check the market for Dash under the Tether pairs, see who's got the most volume traded so we could pull up the right one. Dash is probably still in the top 20, I would imagine. Yes, there you are. All right, let's take a look at the market. All right, let's see. We want tether pairs, USD, USDT. Okay, so volume-wise, what are we looking at here? Well, of course, these are all wrong. Oh, jeez. All right, there we go. ZB we can't chart. What do we got? Hit BTC. I don't think we could chart that. We can't chart that. Huobi, there we go. All right, so we're pulling up the Huobi chart. Here we go. Huobi. All right. Tether, Dash, Huobi. Got some history on this guy. All right, so Snow, you always make me pull up something that's just depressing. But let's take a look. Let's take a look. We got our levels. Boink, something like that. And let's get another one over here. Something like that. Okay, so another channel play right here. Back and forth, up and down. Nothing crazy. Get out of here. Nothing crazy. Just want to make this red like this. All right, now that's on the weekly, right? So we've been in that channel forever. On the daily chart, you know, we're respecting levels. Of course, this is just by eye, so don't, you know, hold me to it. But we have been respecting levels down across the line. This can get widened out a little bit, something like that. This is the more important one because that's what we're trying to break out of, right? We don't want to break to the downside. We'd certainly rather break to the upside. Let's try to make that a little bit more realistic. Okay, so didn't we just look at this? Like we did a chart just like this, I swear. Maybe it didn't save? Okay, so anyway, here's what we want to do. A few things here. Because, of course, we're trying to break out, but we need to consider what we're looking at here. Clear downtrend, all right? We know this, right? We're not crazy. We know we're in a downtrend. So we look for areas of structure, areas of support, areas of resistance, and we try to get some ideas and some possibilities of what we could be looking at, right? So everybody just wants to say it's just going to continue down forever. Well, that's just not the case, you know? Can it? Sure. I don't think it will. All right. So the reason why I have these levels on here, right? Because at some point, price reversed. Price reverses for a reason, all right? Either the buyers or the sellers are exhausted, and for whatever reason, there's a change in the market. So right here, we reversed course, came back down. So this is a continuation move down. Again, we reverse course, retrace up, found resistance, and pushed back down. Over here, we found support again, not a double bottom, and now the trend seems to make a little bit more sense. We push back up, we reverse again, where? Right at the same level we did last time. All right, so that's why this level is important. Push back down, we go a little sideways. We tested this previous resistance level as support. We found it. We tried it again, we lost, right? Once we lost it, we didn't really find much down here. This is sort of hanging out in the open, but it is part of this hesitation zone, right? So we tried and tried and tried and tried and tried to get past this level as resistance. Finally did and flipped it properly, right? We came up, we closed above, came down, retested, and now pushed back up over it. So on the very local trend, right, we're locally making, you know, a bottom, right, a high, a higher low, a higher high. Right here, we just barely made a higher low from here, higher low, right? And then you're looking for your next higher high. So failure to make this next higher high, which now because of this wick, you need to be up in this resistance zone, is going to become a swing failure. Now, take a closer look at how price reacted on our trend line, right? This is the downtrend channel that we're trading in. Price came up pretty strong right here, right? So 6% move, 6% move, 12% in 2 days, right? And it smashes his head on this arbitrary downtrend line. And then the very next day, smashed it again, rejection. Very next day, smashed it again, rejection, right? 2 days go by, they give it a rest. They give it one more huge attempt up, right? And they weren't able to sustain it, closed below it. Now we're still bearish. Right now over here, nothing, 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 nothing. Attempt, fail, attempt, fail, attempt, fail. Today, nothing. So, all that being said, it doesn't look like it has the steam to cross over. When it does cross over, we want to see a good push up. We want to see a retest of that channel. Now, there's a long-term upper trend line, so we do want to see a retest of the channel. And then we want to see it break its first major support, which right now, if this is where it happens, is right here. If it happens all the way down here, then we're looking at this line and, you know, continuation down the line. So overall, it's looking like it's having a lot of trouble getting past this line. So I would expect that to continue unless something drastically changes. It could be exhaustion in volume, which is showing exhaustion in trend, so something similar to this, which is what we just looked at. Now, exhaustion coming down from this move shows you had lots of move, lots of volume coming up here, right? Very little interest on the pullback, right? That volume super low. You came back up with a little bit more volume for here, and then it's been dying ever since volume-wise. So less and less and less and less and less. So it tells me less people want to take that risk, and nobody wants to be the first guy to jump up and over and try to get the rally going, because this guy tried it, and what happened? Right? He lost everything. So he came in here and said, guys, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it. I got the money, I'm pushing, I push it up 10%. I need everyone to follow me, and everyone said, yeah, I'm in Raven right now. So what happens? Right? He loses 10%. And we stay underneath that trend. So that's what I got for that. It's not a beautiful picture. Let's put it that way. It's gonna need something. It's gonna need something to cross over here. And when it does, it needs to be pretty convincing, or else we're gonna see, you know, like a false breakout, which I don't have a good example of that on this chart. But a false breakout would be similar to this, right? If the lines were a little bit different, just meaning like it, oh, don't do that. Meaning that it looked like it had an attempt out. We even closed up and moved a little bit and then just failed, you know. So let's just say that the line was more so like this, right? And then we had that big break up out. Nice. We closed above, over. We came back. We retested it. That's fantastic, right? And then we push up for the big spring. And then we get 2 candles in and it dies, right? So you don't want the false breakout. That's why patience in trading does pay off. You don't have to be this guy, right? Let's do this so that everybody knows. You don't have to be that guy, right? You don't have to do it, right? We could trade 80% of the market and not be this guy. We don't have to find the bottom, and we don't have to sell the top, right? We could play the other 80% of the market that's in between the top and the bottom comfortably by, waiting for breakouts, waiting for setups, waiting for support resistance plays, waiting for confirmations. We don't have to be that guy. We don't have to be the guy who risked, whatever he put in there in order to push it 10% and have nobody follow him. There's no reason for that. All right, so that is dash tether. And what else did you have? G-Byte. We're going to do the nightly G-Byte. All right, so G-Byte, what did we do? I guess Trex? You did USD, right? G-Byte USD. Again, this is another chart that I could have sworn we did last night. Oh, is it? I don't know. Well, we're not going to figure it out live. We will just press on, and then, when I'm off, I'll try to figure out what happened. Okay, so, again, a fresh chart. I like to do this. I grab my horizontal. I put the lock tool on. I keep this on, and I start finding levels that are significant, right? Obvious, significant levels of support and resistance that I want to lay on the chart so that I can have something to look at. Right, so do that. Okay, so easy peasy, nothing crazy, couple lines here. Overall trend, we could tell, obviously, we're in a clear downtrend. Nothing unusual about this. This is also the weekly chart, so not a lot of history, but we'll dive into the daily and see what we got going on. So this bottom area, I'll tell you right off the bat, this bottom area I love, right? Because these are opportunities for breakout plays at a range, which are fantastic. So we're going to take this. We're going to get rid of that for a minute. We're going to eye ourselves up a nice zone, which is this right here. Okay. Well, it's a little less than that. More like that. And we're going to paint this guy orange because we already have too much red and green. There we go. Okay. Range plays. Range plays are usually pretty good. For a range play to happen properly, we like to have a push up at a range, a retest, and then a spring off of it. This is also a cup and handle, like we just saw on whatever chart that was. Somebody remembers. So this cup and handle played out right here, where we had our push level, right, bottom of the cup, we had our handle, and we're pushing up out of it. So if let's just say this, if we just played the cup and handle, right, we would come over here, measure out, top of cup, which is going to be right side cup, so within a couple sats, or what are we on? We're on tether, aren't we? Yeah, so within a couple pennies. And then this is our breakout, similar to like Head and Shoulders neckline. So you'd be looking at a 33% gain, right, coming off the breakout play. Now, if you play the bottom, that's a little bit different. But let's draw this in here for those that are not visually seeing it. It is like this and is like that. All right. And then we come down to our bottom. It's right here. Okay. Now we grab our fib, right? And then we're going to go from the bottom, right, to the top of the cup. I have one specially just for cup and handle, which is right here. All right. So I bold out 382 and 618 because these are the common areas for a handle to retrace to. This one happens to be a mid retrace because it ended up stopping out on the 5. Now, this is confluence in two different ways. So when you have a pattern that's also confluence to something else you're dealing with, you got to deal in zones. This was our range zone. We broke out of range and came back to retest range, and that's more or less where it found support. Didn't quite hit the 50. So if you were going to buy this, when you saw the pattern, you'd front run a little bit and push down a little bit, right? This gives you at least a zone where you'd be able to catch it as it comes down. That's probably the wrong word to use, but get your buy realized. Let's just say that. That sounds a lot better. All right, and then, for visual purposes, you could do that, and then that, and then you can do this. Then you have a good-looking cup and handle right there. Right? It's pretty. It's real nice. So, as far as this is concerned, this is valid. This is fine. We're good with this. Cup and handle, out of range, break, retest of support, push back up. This is fantastic. This is our first target. This will be for the cup and handle pattern as a whole. If we look at the actual move itself, right, we're looking from top to bottom and then pull back on the retrace. So let's do something like that, right? And then let's do this, blah, blah, blah. And then we'll have some target zones here, which will be off of this pullback, right? Off of that pullback, we're going to measure up what do we want to get back off that pullback. 1618 is a nice target area. 2618 is an excellent target area. 3618 even better. And then 423 is, after that, now you got to start dealing with, like, you're getting in the 8s and the 12s. But this, I wish that this was in more confluence with either the 3-6 or the 2-6, but it's sort of right in the middle. But what I would do is I might lay out profit targets for the 618, the 2618, and then the top of the formation. Something similar to that. And then I can get that off my screen. I can get this off my screen. And then I know, that's sort of what I'm looking at here. Of course, once you have something like that with profit targets, you want to go back and you want to say, what kind of levels do I have to worry about here? Now that I'm on the daily, things look a little bit different. This is clearly a zone where support was found. All right. When support was found here, it also turned into resistance. This whole line is resistance. So we could do something similar to this, at least within this trading zone. And this is just a zone, but this will give us an idea as we get up to here, we could have a bit of a struggle. All right. But yeah, so that's what I got for, maybe that's it. Maybe I'm not on the chart long enough to save it. I'm thinking. All right, so thank you. That previous structure high with the pink line. Just learned something awesome. Okay, good. Learn it. That's what I'm talking about. Yay, I'm on it. Yes, the other day, that's what I thought. We did, but I can't remember the exchange. Yeah, neither can I. Could I see what you clicked on to get the cup and handle? Okay. What did I click on? Oh, just the circle? So your fourth one down is your, like, shape tools. Brush, rectangle, rotating rectangle, yada, yada, yada. So just go to arc all the way down to the bottom. And then if you, paint left to right and then pull down or, or up if you want to up arc. That's how I draw my cup. The handle, I just grab, the arrow tool, nothing crazy. And then, do something like that and that. If that's what you're looking for, I might not be following the question as well, but that's how I would draw a cup and handle. You visually just see it, right? So visually, just look, and if you see something with like a slightly rounded bottom, and a nice slow roll left with a slow roll right, then you could start getting the idea of you might have a cup and handle on your hands, at which case you go by a zone in the top, Some people will go by just the swing high, which is going to be this spinning top right here. And if that's the case, then it actually matches up. Look at that, body to body, close to close. So look at here and look at here, and you'll see that the body itself is like, it's basically perfect, right? So you could draw your cup like that. Then once you've drawn it, you're looking for the retrace. In fact, it's more of a pullback. So now you have to wait for the right side to exhaust, give yourself a reversal, and you're looking for 3 levels, right? You're looking for a 382. Here we go. So you're looking for a 382, a 5, or 618. Oh, geez. That just got crazy. Let's not ever do that again. Okay, so here we go. Perfect and perfect. All right, so yeah, let me get this in an area so that we can talk about it real quick. Bang. Okay. So ideally, as far as handles are concerned, you would have something that's along the lines of a 382, which is a shallow. It's a shallow handle. A 5 is like a mid handle, and a 618 is like a deep handle. We can put all this over here, and then it could just all go together very nicely. Look at this, right? So you put your fib on the bottom of the cup, to the top, right side, and then you're looking at your handle, right? So this in this example, just for show and tell, we would have a like a mid handle retrace off the bottom of the cup, bang. Bang. And then when you're looking for profit targets, right, get your little measurement tool over here. I just have mine in my favorites. And then you measure from the bottom of the move to the top of the cup, and just drag this guy up, right, to above the cup. So that's your break, right? Once you break this plane, once you break that 0 line, it's basically a go to get in here and start pulling these profits. And in this particular example, it was 32%. So you would expect to see gains. If it plays out, you would expect to see gains up to that level, which in this instance ended up being, the -1 or a full 1-to-1 retracement or pullback from the bottom of the cup. So basically like an ABCD. Like an ABCD, it should be like a 1-for-1, AB, right? So A, AB, right? AB equals, right, from C to D. So you would have the same type of idea where you just have this full move here was realized up over here. All right, so I hope that helps. I think that's what you were asking about, right? I got to scroll over here to see if I was right. We go, could have seen we declare. Yes, thank you again. So you reverse the fib for that? Yeah, or is that a different fib tab? There's no fib reversal for cup and handle. Now, if you want to play this pullback, it's a totally different story, and in which case, then, yes, you would do a fib flip like that, and then you would have your 1-6, 2-6, 3-6, 4-2 as profit targets. Okay, but that's different. We use this for pullbacks. We use the standard, this guy, to find pullbacks, right? And then the pattern itself has its own rules. So the pattern itself has its own entries, exits, stop losses, and profit targets, right? So profit target, because you want to get the size move of the cup, right? It's going to end up being a -1 if you put that on your fib, which just means when you set this thing up, right? You can add whatever you want. You know what I mean? So on this particular fib, I added a -1, a -618 2 what? No, 2-6. Oh, jeez. 2-618, 3-618, and a 4-2-3 on the minus side, right? But I still like to flip them. That's my preference if I'm looking for a pullback play. Then I'll just flip it. Know what I mean? Yeah. Don't you normally start fib at 0 on the bottom, seen it both ways. No. So with fibs, it's a good question. So with fibs here, fibs you always want to calculate. Let's get back on the chart. So with fibs, you always want to calculate the next move, right? What could be happening next. And let's just find a clean part of this chart just to play around with. Whatever. This move right here is fine. All right, so if you are pulling a fib, the idea is you want to get back to where you started. That's the whole point, right? And then you want to measure what it's going to take to get back there. So if I take my fib and you're always going to draw to the right, you know what I mean? You're drawing to the right. You're drawing a completed move to find the next move. All right, so if I'm drawing down, I'm trying to calculate what it's going to take to get back up to where I started. So for this example, I'm drawing down here, down to here, right? And I want to see what is it going to take to get back up. When I'm at this level, I'm back 23%. All right, from this move. And that's calculated because the 1 is where I start, right? I want to get back to 100%, basically. That's the best way to put it. I want to get back to 100%. So right here, so far, I got 23% off my list. Bang, bang. Over here, I got 38% off my list. Here, I got 50% off my list. And right here, I got 61% back, and then I failed. Right? Went back down again. But this is what I'm measuring. I lay down this fib to measure this. All right? Now, without confusing anybody and flipping it, let me just pull a new fib. Now, I have this, and I see this reversal candle. I'm starting to go down. Well, now I want to know what's it going to take to get all the way back down to this bottom zone. Right? So again, I pull the fib, bottom to top, and now, again, I'm going to the right to measure this move down here. This move. So I know that once we've hit, this level here, let me just slide that over just so it's a little easier to see. So now I know when I hit this level here, I've lost 23%, so which means I'm getting closer to my bottom. I've lost 38%. Now I've lost 50%, 61%, 70%, 78%, and then here we go all the way down here, 88% lost, right? If I got all the way down to a double bottom, it would have been 100%. You know what I mean? So that's why your fib should start at 1. Now there's advanced stuff that you could do with the fib, and that's what we do over here with profit targets, and that's why we flip it back the other way. So try not to get hung up on that. The very simple explanation for fibs is you're looking for the next move. If you have a move down, you're trying to find the move back up. So you want to see what kind of areas of resistance you're going to come back into on the retrace, and then just the opposite if you had a big move up and now you're working your way down. You want to know what levels of support may you have, before it gets all the way down to the bottom. If one of those levels of support holds, then you expect reversal back up. You know what I'm saying? I think so. I hope so. I feel like you got it, Wall. I feel like you got it. All right, it's 7 o'clock for me, my time. That's a wrap for right now. I don't think I'll be back on tonight. There's a lot going on, so I probably won't make it back tonight. And then, the whole week coming up is always very iffy whether I make the daily candle close or not. So we'll have to see how that goes. If I don't make it, I try to come back on sometime around midnight my time. But again, there's zero guarantees for that. So if you get alerted that I'm on, then we'll go through some charts. If I'm not on, then I will try my hardest to make the Saturday candle close and the Sunday weekly close, and then we'll take it from there. All right. So I hope everybody is good. That was fun. Yeah. Right. Yeah, definitely. You're very welcome. What is that, Athen? You're very welcome. Yeah, so thank you guys for coming out. Really do appreciate it. Always a good time for me on my end. And that's it, man. So until then, I'll see you on the exchanges, and happy trading.